Okay, we're ready to get started. You'll see I'm leaning in. I'm demonstrating for your poets. You have to get you can all hear me at the back, right? Yeah? Okay, so you have to kind of lean in to get your voice on the microphone. I think everyone here knows that I'm Sarah Wilson. I'm the executive director of Laura Riding Jackson Foundation. Thank you for coming. This is the first part of our program where we have our local poets read. That's this group up here. I am going to do a bigger introduction to the event at the 4 o'clock part of the program, but we're just going to kick this off right now, and I'm going to introduce our Vice President of Programming, Carrie Adams, who will introduce this part of the program. Carrie.
Good afternoon, everyone. Who's ready for some poetry? Well, you are in the right place. We start our program off today with the talents of our local poets, all of whom are participants in our writing groups, which has been one of the obviously biggest explosions in our programming over the recent years. It's been an important component to have this place, this supportive community where like-minded people who are all interested in pursuing these creative arts have a place to come together. So what started as just, I think we had 1, maybe 2 at the beginning, is up to 6 groups. Well, technically 7, I suppose, where people can come together and do this kind of work. We have waiting lists for all of our groups. It's extremely popular. We get requests every day for people who want to do this and add this part of things to your life. So we have all levels. We have, accomplished and aspiring writers. So whether you're a published novelist or a novice, we can find the right place for you to grow. All of the poets who are going to speak today are members of these groups, and I am going to read a list of the groups and their leaders. We thank you, our leaders. Thank you to our leaders for running these groups. And as the writing group participants are all also members of a foundation, right, that supports overall our entire mission. So we're very grateful. We're grateful for their time and their talents and their support of all of our mission. So here are the groups, and their participants are speaking here tonight. So first we have Night Riders, and that is led by Jackie Jacobs and April Cole. We thank you. The Pen Points group, led by Teresa Morgan and John DeMena. Thank you, thank you. Here's our combo. Porch Poets and the Pole Barn Poets, led by Skip Cole and Pat Draper. Poets Corner, led by Michael Howard. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, we want to clap for all of them, right? Let's see, Tuesday Writers, led by Bonnie McDougall and Randy Old. Thank you. And Right Life, led by Mike Godown and Laura Kelly. So I think we should give just a quick love for, for the groups, their leadership, and their contributions to this program today. Thank you all. So I'll be introducing our first presenter, and then in turn the poets will come up and introduce themselves and the name of the piece that they're going to share with us today. So first I'd like to bring up Adriana Decanter, if she would mind coming up, please. Thank you.
Very quickly, I want to thank leaders of Porch Poets and also my colleagues who take part in that. We really learn and support each other, and I appreciate the Laura Riding Jackson Foundation for having the opportunity. The overall theme for the poetry reading is mothers and daughters, and this is about my daughter, Mary Lou LaPerla. Beloved, most of all, I remember your deep, throaty laughter, not the multicolored pills scattered around your room, the honey brown heroin you shot up between your toes that sat with mine for mother-daughter pedicures. I remember the chubby, chatty 3-year-old bundle of curls in her purple Crocs, shorts, t-shirt, and sunshine sunglasses. Not my long-forgotten jewelry that you stole and pawned. You, a funnier-than-hell, blue-eyed siren who sucked people into your sphere, who worshipped you as you smashed their devotion on the rocks of addiction. You did not deserve your death. You certainly caused it. There was no saving your strong-willed, strung-out self, even though so many who loved you tried and failed. You are forever gone. Still, I hear your laughter erupting, see your blue eyes flashing, out of control curls bouncing. You are in my dreams, my waking hours. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Susan Lovelace, and I'm reading a poem today from Ann Kenna, who couldn't be here. She's at a book signing for her novel Florida Kills up in Melbourne and couldn't be here, but she asked me if I could read for her. So this is called Free Fallin'. Drove east in the morning to the small town airport, office trailer in a dirt parking lot, a forgotten plane in pieces in the tall grass. You left me there as you soared, free falling. 2 miles above the earth, I watched you fall, back arched against the wind, waiting for the chute to open. A speck against the wide blue sky, a zygote ready to divide. In my womb, I let you go, free falling. I watched you emerge on a silk parachute, on butterfly wings, tethered to my life. I let go, watched you fall, arms outspread, a cry of joy, pinwheels in the wind, circling, down, around, free falling. You touched the ground on a whisper, your 2 feet already traveling on.
Hello, I'm Jackie Grady, part of the Tuesday Writers. I had a hard time coming up with my poem. Writer's block is a thing, but the beautiful thing about poetry is it's everywhere, as I'm going to read to you now. A text from my mother. Something happened to our TV. Says no signal. Check external input, or select another input using input button. When we turn on cable, apps appear. I use app remote and press button for TV, like they told me to do. What do I do? Dad pushed a button and we got cable. Don't know why, but it is okay.
Hello, my name is Barbara DeVoe. I'm part of the Porch Poets and the Poets Corner. This poem was inspired by a painting by Edward Hopper, House by Railroad Tracks. Train time. 5:30 a.m., first train of the day. The whistle blows, the tracks rumble, the ground shudders, I wake. The train, more reliable than my alarm clock, starts my day. Or it used to. How many years since, I can't remember, and it doesn't matter. I am old, and the past is a long time ago, or yesterday. Gone is gone. 9 a.m. Express train. It stalled one day. A cow had died and lay across the tracks. Jacob, my oldest brother, probably had something to do with that. He wanted to escape the farm and hop the delayed train to do it. It seemed like a good plan, but in those days, there rarely wasn't any place to escape to. The county sheriff was plenty mad when he found out, but by then, the train and Jacob had left town. Gone. It's gone. 11:47 a.m. Cattle cars rolled by. Beef was big and the Chicago stockyards were kept full with Midwest cattle. I know those cows were crying out. The train noise was louder than their cries. When those farms died, the train stopped running, the first to go. Gone is gone. 2:15 p.m. This train was odd, usually empty except for the tramps moving themselves from camps to camp. Tramps had short lives. Fights over cheap whiskey, scant scraps of food, all it added up to was a fast ride to hell. I always felt sorry for them. The war had broken bodies and minds, destroyed their lives, taken no future worth living for. So much taken away. Gone is gone. 6:53 p.m., a real passenger train with dinner and sleeper cars. Businessmen traveled between work and home. You could see them dressed up in fancy suits, smoking fat, smelly cigars on platforms between cars. Sometimes I'd see a dressed up lady. Fancy made me dream of a different life. Gone is gone. 8:10 p.m. Train always slowed down to snatch a pail of milk Ma had put out on a tall stump close to the tracks. The engineer was a longtime friend, and the milk helped nourish his passel of kids. One died last year. Gone is gone. 9:22 p.m. Cars filled with sand, iron ore, stones. More tramps. You could see them easy when the moon was full, legs hanging out the open doors of empty boxcars. Who wanted dirt? Where did it all go? What was it used for? Back then I didn't care much. Gone is gone. 12:15 a.m. Last train. Always a short one, going slow. Even under a bright moon, I never knew what it carried. Some said soldiers heading to boot camp. Others said prisoners going to the state lockup for safekeeping. Gone is gone. I miss the trains, even after so many years. In my sleep, they keep me company. I never rode one. Gone is gone.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Michael Howard. This is a rather lighthearted poem, but first a little context. In the process of distilling whiskey, oak barrels are used to store and age whiskey, and the longer it ages, the better the whiskey becomes. Just ask Sean Sexton. But the volume of whiskey when it's aged, when it comes out, is always far less than what goes in. And the longer it ages, obviously, the more whiskey is gone. And that loss is called the angel's share. There's a scientific definition of this loss, but that would ruin this poem, so I'll avoid that. But I think I missed the theme of mothers and daughters, but then I thought, well, there's probably whiskey's probably a good element in mothers and daughters relationship. But this is titled The Angel's Share. The angels always take their share. They are patient but greedy too. The longer the spirit lays and rests, greater portions the angels accrue. Sometimes I think I see them, mornings after I've had my share. They wake and rise from the nice warm lake when the cold morning lies fair, or when the low sun's evening light passes gently through a whiskey glass. A wall reveals their colored wings, a small rainbow that will not last. or when the cat's paw touches down and ruffles the surface of the sea, I know that is the gentle touch of an angel's wing I cannot see. I hope to be an angel one day, although I'm surely not one now. No doubt the Lord knows my thirst and will grant me a place somehow. So let us pop the barrel bung and see what the seraphs left us. Be thankful the oak ekes only fumes, and we keep the angels envious. Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me okay? I'm Debbie Smith, and I've been with both groups, and they've been wonderful. Everybody in this organization has been great. So I want to read you Death is Death. And this poem I wrote from my experience, but I just wanted to mention that when my mother was about 15 years old, she came home and found her father dead in the kitchen, the door to the stove open. So in my life, I have had another experience, but very closely related. Near midnight, he lay where he fell, arms crossed like a mummy, tight on his chest, rigid with pain, struggling to breathe, eyes begging. He went unwillingly. I tried to budge his arms, pump his heart back to me. Let him stay, I pleaded, but death was deaf. Sirens and footsteps broke the night. He's in there, I pointed, and stumbled blindly out. Past the medics, past the Christmas tree, past the gifts wrapped in waiting, past the shadows staring from the street, farther into darkness, into oblivion, past the present. Fear-frozen eyes still stab me, long after the ashes were thrown to the sea. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bonnie McDougall. The eyes of a mother see both front and back as she sits near the throne of God. A mother's wishes for her daughter, forged by the times, are given all in good faith. There were scant dreams in my mother's day. She wrote down the best she knew. There is only one way to have a good life. That is as a rich man's wife. My first invitation through a kitchen phone came in first grade at 6 years old. My mother stood archly, words mostly false, cluing me, listen closely. I tugged at her skirt and whispered up, say no to Timmy Nipper's picnic. I don't like him at all. The eyes of a mother see only so far. My straight hair curled, my sundress pressed, driven to a strange world away. Timmy Nipper's hand, tight on my wrist, dragged to a clearing in the woods. His hand plunged down into his pants, made himself naked so I would see, called out fierce animal sounds, then peed all over a tree. His laughter raucous rocked through the air till he turned rather slowly, still exposed, scowling triumphant at me. I didn't know what rained on me that day, made me turn wild, taken home right away. Mom at the door, her smile a hat brim, but the eyes of a mother see only so far. She could no longer see both in front and in back, nor sat near the throne of God. She made me go where I would not go, see what could not be unseen, feel the shame I did not yet know, write armored words that cover my heart. To live hard, struggle on my own, go as far as I could in a world that judged, being faithful only to me. I softened, became a mother, watching my own daughter come into her own. As she fled out the door and into the night, I held out for her my armored truth. Life is a quest of singular boons, but the eyes of a mother see only so far. She glanced back at me, upended my words, nothing in them for her. She needed to turn wide, go rough, get herself borne out from under. My prayer for her, one of pride, one of joy. Do not look back until you are free from the eyes of your mother, who sees only so far. She cannot see both in front and in back. She does not sit near the throne of God. Thank you.
Hi, April Cole. I just want to say I had a real mother-daughter morning. My child was at Grad Bash last night, and she almost didn't make it. And I was like, I'm going to write the worst poem if you don't make it. But she did. She's a charm. Okay, sorry. Bandit. I almost named you Indie Bandit, Cole, and should have. Your thievery is legendary around these parts. Phone chargers, earbuds, honey, and hoodies all disappear when you're near. It's not that you like to take. It's just that you want everything. I used to sing The Gambler to put you to sleep and must have instilled a prophecy, because you will take a chance on damn near anything. You'll go nil with Queen of Spades, saunter up to guys and girls alike with a reckless grin that sets you to glowing, and say brazen, insane things like, you're awesome, I must have you. Caution and moderation are blasphemous to your gospel of more. When you were little, you'd catapult into rainstorms and walk until you became an expert on the streets of our town. A barefoot explorer who'd come home full of stories and dirt. I raised you on vampire slayers, and you battled your demons early. Then again with brain surgery at 17. But you already knew that this life is a complex piece of work. Step right up, it says. We've got campfires and constellations, cumulus clouds, crushed ice, and crafty projects, and that's just the seas. But we also have madmen and addicts, and a granny so depressed you will worry when she says, I love you. You'll have to hold it all. A challenge you're well equipped for, because there ain't shit the bandit can't hold. With pockets deep to overflowing, desire, pain, love, and loss, and a library's worth of literary analysis, the fools who sang about little girls had no idea what you're made of. And even though I hate to think of death, I wonder often what I will leave you, and can only hope I leave you still seeking, wielding your wild whimsy into life, all hips and hope and hilarity, and that the parts of me that remain keep you tethered safe to home as you rise like helium, wanting more.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bruce Fraser. I'm a member of the Porch Poets. I don't think context is going to help with this poem, so I will just read it. This is called Stigmata. I sit at a laundromat watching a toothless woman across from me look at something I can't grasp or see, as one of her eyes is larger than the other and drifts lazily up and out toward the edge, while the other is anchored to the bridge of my nose, as though the downward turn of her dour mouth were stitched to that eye, keeping it fixed, keeping her pinned to this place so no one steals the linen. She walks between worlds, just as you and I do, when we find ourselves a fragment, a discordant note. Like now, as I stare into this woman's angry orb, which accuses me of putting my wet boots in her dryer, soiling the Walmart frock and the old towels that smell so nice when she's made her way the mile home to the one-room apartment next to Bill's convenience store. But I'm not that man, says the other eye, turned, I'm sure, toward the charnel grounds, the plateaus of Tibet, frozen year-round so the earth is too hard to bury the dead, and the vultures pluck out the vagrant eyes of those who were careless enough to be born. Thank you.
My name is Lynn DeMena. I'm speaking for my husband, John, who had a cardiac event this week. I think I might join him by the time I get back home. These poems have just been extremely moving. He did feel that his poem, which does refer to a granddaughter's visit, was one that might resonate the most today. So I will read the context he wrote in his words. In 2018, I was sentenced to a federal prison camp north of Boston. I served 18 months there for violations of financial regulations. During those 18 months, I committed myself to record my experience. My first effort was to journal my day-to-day activity. But in prison, a journal just doesn't get to the emotional cellar you fall into. For the most part, inmates keep their anguish private, despite the inner turmoil that prison life presents, never acknowledging the actual day-to-day wearing down and the darker and solitary realities of enduring prison life. It's a wearing, demanding existence of grueling regimens and protocols. Over time, my journaling evolved into a collection of poems and prose poems, a better vehicle to overcome the inherent ineffability of the penal experience and better convey a visceral semblance of the day-to-day reality, the trauma, and the true center of gravity. Prison is a kind of Dante-esque dark wood, half dream and twilight zone, while the tactile world plays out in confusing rhythms. The most painful part of prison is that it confronts us with ourselves and furthers in each inmate an excruciating self-loathing. The poem I'll read today was written after my 7-year-old granddaughter visited me in prison. Her parents and I were conflicted about her visiting me in prison. Still, we decided it was essential to confront the reality of my circumstances. I wrote this poem in the afternoon, just after they left. Granddaughter's visit. She arrived even in this tangled prison, her beguiling innocence still intact. Everything fair and starlight, the magic of everyday life only 7-year-olds possess. Still not aware of her own beauty, nor the world hers, we played like always, not a hint of place. 3 missing teeth, that rare beauty of absence so special in a child's smile, and stories of the tooth fairy and magic pillows. But on goodbye, she paused, having grasped the scene, and in the softest of words that only we could hear, "Is it hard?" she asked. I wanted to say yes, but didn't. Enough perfection and innocence to burn a shameful hole right through you. Then a final wave from that perfect face of petals and smiles even I couldn't spoil. Thank you.
Hi there. My name's Christine Light. I recently read Carl Phillips's newest volume of poetry called Scattered Snows to the North. It is lovely. And I was struck by a question he wrote in one of his poems. The poem is titled Fist and Palm. And the title of my poem is the question that he poses in his poem titled Fist and Palm. And I just have a quick contemplative poem in response with my own questions. I feel it's related to mothers. I've written a lot of mother poems, but I have not read them really anywhere, so this one is the closest. Isn't this obedience, these songs I've built from things too difficult to speak of? What is obedience but bending to the will and order of another? Obedience must mean something else, something darker and harder and more allegiant to the bone, something closer to the way you can't choose suffocation for suicide because the body claws its way out to breathe. If singing is obedience, where is absolution? That has to be the part that's false. I'm obedient because there is no choice. I bend like pines to a fisted wind. Who am I to expect it'll get easier when I stand straight, that the wind won't come again? Thank you.
Good afternoon. First, I'd like to speak to you as the president of the board of Laura Riding Jackson Foundation, and thank you so much for your continuing support, for the opportunity it provides for all of these great writers. And we couldn't do it without you. We're very glad you're here with us today. Now I'm here as a writer. I was fortunate to be part of the Tuesday Writers for about 7 years, and we needed to start a night group. And even though I'm not an English teacher, I'm like, okay, I guess I can do it. So I did. But my poem today is very personal. The title is A Real Mother. Are you done yet? Snarled my nurse Ratchet. My 19-year-old self muttered, I'll tell you when I'm done. I never took eyes off my newborn child, the child they tried to keep me from seeing, the child I knew I'd never see again, never touch again. Adoption, my only option. I whispered in her tiny ear, I love you. I'm doing this because I love you, and I will always love you. At 23, children came into my life, not mine, his. The crying of his 12-year-old had the mother in me flying up the stairs, my arms wrapped tightly around her, quieting her tears. She whispered, Jackie, can I call you Mom? My own tears welled, goosebumps rose. I whispered back, I would be honored. Days later, his 10-year-old daughter came into the kitchen. Mom, may I go play with my friends? Not Jackie, may I, Mom. Motherhood can come in unexpected ways if you're lucky. Yet in words only thoughtless humans utter, I bear the scars of phrases like, oh, you're not her real mother? What, you gave up your child? She never said you were her stepmother, so she's not really your child. Going on 54 years together, I've loved, comforted, and supported my 2 oldest daughters and their families. Reunited 21 years ago with my youngest daughter, I get to share in her life and had time with my precious granddaughter before we lost her at 16 to a brain aneurysm. In my late husband's older children, I have a bonus son and daughter and their families. My children, each in their own way. I am reminded in ways big and small that I am no one's mother legally, no one's real mother. Even so, in our family, we are mother, daughters, son. In the final scheme of things, no law can ever dictate love or what people mean to each other.
Good afternoon. All these people here to hear poetry. This is fabulous. My name is Pat Draper, and I'm reading 2 poems. I'm reading one of my own and then one that Laura Riding Jackson wrote. The poem of mine that I'm reading is from the time of COVID, when my daughter came home from overseas. It's titled, A Time Like This. I never want to forget those 26 hours you last came home. The soft knock on my bedroom door at 5 a.m, jumping on my bed, sprawled across the foot, telling stories of Baghdad and beyond. As I sipped coffee, the clock stood still. Social distancing be damned. You're my sugar bear, my youngest. Even at 32, these hugs can't wait another 3 months until I see you again. I'll always take my chances with you as we climb into the rental Mustang, revving the engine, ready for a spin. you. And this last poem will wrap up the local writers portion of the program. And this is titled The Sweet Ascetic by Laura Riding Jackson. Find me the thing to make me less, delivered to my earthliness, some rarer love to live upon, a berry grown in Avalon, something that will in this emprise suffice me to etherealize the coarser strain and purify the flesh that had preferred to die. Find me this thing and plant it near my garden gate so that someday when I am going out of it, I'll stoop to pick the ripest bit and humming as I walk away, smile just a little and disappear. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat, for your own poem, but also for that one by Laura. We, of course, have to honor our namesake at this event. And Pat did not mention that she is also now the Indian River County Poet Laureate, so we thought that would be suitable to have her conclude our local writer section as the member of one of our writing groups, but then also to honor Laura with that poem. So thank you. Thank you all so much. I want to give a huge round of applause for that whole group. One more. Thank you. Wonderful. Those of you who have not been to this event before, it's a little bit of a break at this point, and I think we all might need a few minutes. Some of those poems were very powerful. So we will have a half hour, which was built into the schedule anyway. And at that time, you're welcome to go get a drink from the bar outside, chat, take a look at our raffles. This is a fundraiser, and we appreciate very much if you participate in the raffles or the silent auction. And we will gather back in this room at 4 o'clock for our featured poets. So thank you, and we'll see you back here at 4 o'clock.